Good morning, Township. I'm Nene, and this is Blue Streak News. Now, Halloween is in 6 days, and BSN would like to end your week with a spooktastic broadcast. Within this broadcast, you will see Franklin review Black Sabbath's very first album and Trick or Treat on the Street with Mitchell. Now, let's jump into it. If you're into heavy metal, then you'll enjoy discovering the origins of the genre in our first segment. Here's Franklin's review on the 1970s heavy metal band Black Sabbath.
Hello, and welcome to the spooky edition of Retro Review. I'm your host, Franklin Ziegler. Have you ever noticed that every generation has that one thing that parents just don't understand? They may find it stupid, or immature, or in the case of heavy metal, dangerous and occultic. This phenomenon is known as juvenoia. And if you're talking about music scaring parents, one name stands tall above the rest: Black Sabbath. The band formed in 1968 in Birmingham, England, under the name Earth Blues Company. However, one of the members had an idea for a song influenced by black magic and horror movies. This song is, of course, Black Sabbath. They used that song as a jumping off point for the rest of their first album, also called Black Sabbath. With its heavy distortion and dark lyrics, Black Sabbath's self-titled album, released in 1970, is considered by many to be the first official metal album. Let's see what makes this album so influential. The title track starts with the sound of a storm and chimes, before bursting into the sound of heavy guitar, bass, and drums. The slow tempo and occult lyrics are staples of the metal subgenre known as doom metal. The song comes in at a whopping 6 minutes and 20 seconds. But it keeps listeners waiting until the very last part of the song, where the tempo picks up. The next song, titled The Wizard, heavily features harmonica and lyrics influenced by The Lord of the Rings. After a brief stop in Middle-earth, the American version of the album takes listeners through a series of songs put together into a single 9-minute journey. These songs put the skill of the band on full display. The next song, called Wicked World, has a strong blues influence, and the last 3 songs on the album are strung together into a single 14-minute track. So what did I think of this heavy metal classic? I thought it was pretty great overall. The instrumental work is fantastic in some of the faster songs, but some of the talent seems wasted in the slower songs. The album can get a little long by today's standards, but the listening experience never feels particularly boring. My overall rating is 8 spooky unidentified figures out of 10.
Thanks, Franklin, for that great review. Now, let's talk about one main aspect of Halloween. Here's Mitchell Calais with his video about trick-or-treating.
Halloween is just around the corner, and freaky decorations, jack-o'-lanterns, and candy can be seen everywhere. Next Thursday is the official trick-or-treat night, and some students say they'll be participating. But why? Aren't they a little too old for Halloween?
I have 2 siblings that really like to go trick-or-treating, so I still go trick-or-treating with them. And it is only once a year that you get to take free candy from strangers, so safely.
Free candy.
I usually go with like a bunch of people and just hang out and stuff like that.
I love the candy.
As it turns out, there are no rules saying people can't trick-or-treat past a certain age. However, there are some guidelines that should be followed.
There's not a legal age limit, and that's kind of a matter of opinion. Some people say they stopped trick-or-treating when they were 12 years old. Some people continue till they're 16. It's kind of like a parent call. Some recommendations for trick-or-treat night would be to travel in groups of people, not by yourself. When you're crossing the streets, make sure you're crossing at corners. Don't dart out in between cars. If you're driving, make sure you are watching for other kids who might be wearing dark clothing. I would recommend wearing light clothing, maybe putting some reflective tape on your clothing so you're seen easier. don't eat anything that's not wrapped. Make sure your parents take a look at some of the food before you eat it. And just be careful. I would just be respectful and make sure you stay out in the open. Don't go in people's backyards. Don't do anything sneaky because we'll get calls. Police will get calls about it.
Even though some students aren't trick-or-treating, they aren't straying too far from the holiday.
I like better, like I dress up and stuff, but I like to hand out candy and make the little ones happy.
I like to hang out with my friends.
Scare people. Because I'm a scary guy.
Whatever you end up doing, have a happy Halloween. This has been Mitchell Calais, signing off.
To end the broadcast off, here's a sneak peek of Talon's Uncommon Halloween Candy Taste Testing video, which can be found on the BSN YouTube channel. Here's a clip.
These are Charleston Chews. They are a very fun candy that is chocolate covered marshmallow.
They tell him when it came out.
It came out.
Charleston
Back when his mom was a kid.
Yeah.
When your mom was a...
These are like old.
Are these edible?
That's all for today, Township. I'm Nene, and I'll see you next time. Have a great weekend.